do. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. Again, welcome to our annual Small Business Workshop. And before I start talking to you about what's going on in Chandler, I would like to take a minute to truly recognize James Smith. Unless you put on one of these events, you have no idea what goes into it. You have no idea the challenges that are faced, the logistics, and the time that's involved. So if you could join me in giving James a round of applause. And then I'd also like to recognize two of our audience members currently, Terry Kimball, the president of our Chandler Chamber, and Angela Creedon, who is just a tremendous partner to us from both ASU. She also sits on the Chamber's board, but from an ASU partnership standpoint, the new partnership that the city has with ASU would not have happened without Angela's leadership. Well, James asked me to give you a quick update on what's going on in Chandler. For those of you that don't know me, I don't do anything quickly. I take a long time, and I love to hog the microphone, so he's smiling because he knows it's true. So I'm here to give you an update this morning on what's going on in Chandler, and James gave me 10 minutes to speak. It can actually take me about an hour to give you an overview of what's going on in the community. We have been incredibly fortunate within our community. It's a very well-planned community. Our 100th birthday is tomorrow, so the planning documents for this community go all the way back into the early 1920s. In our planning offices, we have the original general plan for the city. It's done with crayons, and it is up on it's framed and hanging up on the wall. And when you do a city's general plan, what you're really doing is you're setting the stage for what the community will look like at build-out. So when you do your general plan, you say basically what you want your community to be when it grows up. In 1926, the group that did the original general plan, the thing that amazes me the most, I think, is as I look at that document, it's very much what has developed here in the city today. If you look at it, of course, Chandler Boulevard didn't exist because H.A. Chandler wasn't famous yet, so it's called Mountain to Mountain Boulevard. It went from the South Mountain all the way to the Superstition, so Mountain to Mountain Boulevard. There is a golf course, there's a hotel, there's educational facilities, there's city facilities, and then the retail and office facilities, basically, that exist today. So I always, kind of when I really need to get excited about what I'm doing, which I'm always excited about what I'm doing, but when I need to really kind of get re-energized, I go look at that document and think about those leaders back in 1926 that made the decisions for the city that are still true today. And those mayors and councils and city managers and economic development people and planners that came long before we did really set the stage for what the city looks like today. And if you'll give me a minute to brag on our city, through this economic downturn, Chandler was the city that was hit the least hardest. We had no layoffs. We are in a great fiduciary position. We have a higher credit rating than the federal government, which is not saying much these days, but we have still our AAA credit by all bond rating agencies. And people say to me, why is that important? Well, just like we were speaking with, learning from Heritage Bank, that's how they determine what your interest rate is what your credit rating is. And our credit rating is as strong as you can have by all three rating agencies. If you look at Chandler, and again, not causing issue to any other city, but we've always paid attention to the jobs. We've not paid attention to spring training or resorts or Cardinals or Coyote stadiums. We've paid attention to jobs. And that's what we're known for, and that's what our mayor and council insist and give us guidance and direction on being known for. So just that little bit out of the way on bragging on the community that I've lived in Chandler for about 20 years now. I grew up in Scottsdale, but moved to Chandler when we were deciding on where we wanted our daughter to go to school. And this little farming burg named Chandler kept rising to the top over and over again. And my husband, I said, well, look like it's going to be Chandler. Now, at that time, Ray and McQueen was South Chandler. And he said, you're not taking me to Chandler. All he knew was there used to be a movie theater at Ray and Arizona Avenue, $4 a carload, and we'd all come out here and go to the movies, and that's all he knew of Chandler. And said to him, well, your daughter and I are going, so if you want to be with us, you probably should move to Chandler. And that was 1992, and we've been here ever since and absolutely love it. We're very fortunate to have a great school district, both Kyrene and Chandler Unified School District. Their superintendents are tremendous partners of economic development. As an example, one of our colleagues, Mitchell Allen, who's new with us here in Chandler, was working with a Spanish company. We reached out to our school districts. Not only did they set up tours for the women who were in to deciding where they wanted their children to go to school, but the superintendents both reached out and volunteered to be at the meetings. And so I think what that really speaks to is how high-level economic development is focused here in Chandler. Mayor talked a lot about what's going on, but I often get from our companies as we look forward, well, you're really not interested in helping us, we'll work our way through it, we're not Intel. Well, Intel has a lot of people to take care of it. Our job is to take care of our smaller companies. About 85% of the companies in Chandler are small business. Just to give you kind of a feeling for a lay of the land currently, since in the last 30 months, we've created about 9,500 jobs here in Chandler. And those are new jobs to market. Those are not taking them from one city and moving them to another. These are actual new jobs to market. In 2010, we created 6,000 jobs with economic development assistance, and about 1,500 in 11, and then we'll do about 1,875 in 2012. And these are strong base industry jobs that have an economic impact and an economic multiplier that then goes on and works throughout the system and creates additional jobs. So if you look at the economic multiplier of those 9,500 jobs, it's really created about 30,000 total jobs within our region, just to kind of give you that feeling. And now I'll kind of give you an update on some of the stuff that's going on in the market. Our office vacancy rate is below 6%. If you look at the entire region, the office vacancy rate's hovering about 28-29%. The transactions that are being done are not pretty. The ones in Chandler, we have not only do we have the lowest vacancy rate, but we also have the highest comps in the entire valley. What a comp is, it's a comparable. It says if you lease this office space, what did you pay for it? And our office comps are hovering right up at the top. So much so that there's a 92,000 square foot speculative office building under construction on Price Road. That is the first office building to come, speculative office building to come out of the ground since the recession started. And certainly since 2009, it's the first building to come out of the ground. We're already working with a tenant to take that full building. Since the Douglas Allred companies broke ground on that building, we've been approached by a number of other developers who are ready to come out of the ground. James and Mitchell and I met with one yesterday who's going to bring 145,000 square footer out of the ground, probably in late 12, early 13. So just to give you kind of that feeling. I think over the next few months, or through the 12 and into early 13, it's amazing how our companies are starting to breathe. For a long time, our retention expansion visits were, well, we're not laying off, we're just shoring up, we're doing the best we can, we're not hiring. These companies are hiring, these companies are moving forward, these companies are taking space, these companies are growing. And it was the most, we never really struggled as badly as some of the other cities struggled. But I can tell you, I got back from my holiday vacation on January 10th, and I got back to over 100 voicemails, and about 50% of them were companies who were ready to expand. It almost felt like they wanted to get 2011 off their shoulders and come forward in this market. Our industrial vacancy rate is about 9% currently. You'd like to see your industrial vacancy rate right about 10% as an economic developer. What that means is you've got space to put companies in very quickly. Our retail vacancy rate is hovering right about 12.5%. And that's kind of indicative of the number of larger users that we lost during the recession. Chandler lost 4 batches through their bankruptcy, and those are 55,000 square foot buildings. But we also gained a new target. Well, we actually lost the target at Queen Creek and Alma School, and people say, why would you ever let that happen? Let the target at Queen Creek and Alma School close and reopen the Queen Creek and Alma School at Ocotillo and Arizona Avenue was actually a very strategic decision in working with Red Development and our economic development team and City Council. That target had become a neighborhood target. And I will admit that even I would put on my baseball cap and sunglasses because the one in Gilbert was easier to get to from my house than the one in Chandler. And I shop Chandler more than anybody shops Chandler, but it was easier for me to get to. So what we found is by moving that target to that location, we've gained back a significant amount of our own sales tax dollars. So we've seen our own revenues from that target increase that we've brought back from Gilbert, which is great going back into the city coffers. We've kind of, on the retail side, we've kind of become home to barbecue. James has been working diligently this last year. I told him we wanted a barbecue place. He went out and got 3. Rudy's Barbecue and Can't Stop Smoking, both opened at 54th Street and Chandler Boulevard. If you haven't been there, it is some of the best barbecue you will ever have. And then Porkopolis will open right up here at the 202 and Arizona Avenue in the coming week. So within a month, we'll open 3 barbecue restaurants. And if you like barbecue, man, I highly, highly recommend it. We've seen some expansions. Red White Brew closed down in Chandler Heights and Gilbert, but another sports bar reopened right in its place. If you've not been there, it's absolutely wonderful to sit out on that patio. On the mall, you've seen our mall. It's 10 years old. I can't believe it. I remember standing in the cornfield where it said, "Coming soon, Santan Fashion Center." Still have pictures of me doing that. The mall's now 10 years old. It is completely reinventing itself. We have a tremendous partner in West Core. If you haven't been to the mall recently, you'll get lost. The tenants have moved, they've expanded, they're grouping them differently. They jettisoned quite a number of tenants, and people came to us and said, "Oh my gosh, the stores aren't succeeding, they're closing." No, that was actually strategic by West Core. West Core felt that they weren't bringing in the revenue that they should be and the attraction to the mall that they should be. So that was West Core's decision not to re-sign their leases after 10 years. They're making tremendous capital investments in quite a number of the retailers that are there. Again, if you haven't been to the mall, it is a whole new experience. And certainly within the next few weeks, you'll see some even major additional changes. Where the Charlotte Russe, that whole corner where Charlotte Russe was located, Chandler's getting an H&M. So if you've not been to H&M, it's a really cool store. I'm too old for H&M, but my daughter absolutely loves it. So she'll be going there. One of their flagship stores, about a 20,000 square foot store. On the Power Center side right around the mall, Red Development just acquired the Power Centers from West Core. So Red is going in and making some significant changes. Red is also a tremendous partner of Chandler as well. So very, very fortunate. James handles retail from our city, and as an economic development team member, our city could not be in better hands with James at the lead on our retail aspect. He and Mitchell will be leaving for ICSC on Monday, and we'll be out recruiting a number of other companies. They've already got a completely full calendar to bring back some new and first-in-market opportunities for us here. Kind of going back to the industrial side, Chandler's really broken up into 5 employment corridors. Our oldest outside of historic downtown is West Chandler. West Chandler was built along I-10 and was built as distribution. Now Chandler's really not a distribution market. The Far West Valley has become the distribution market. You'll see it's closer for them to California markets. It's easier access for them in those areas. But our West Chandler market has become a true high-tech customer care center, office. A number of significant projects that haven't been announced yet will be taking occupancy in West Chandler shortly. Price Corridor, which is where Mayor and the Council had to scoot out to another groundbreaking today. We've had 3 groundbreakings in Price Corridor in the last month. That is probably our most signature employment corridor. About 25,000 jobs exist currently in the corridor, and they will ultimately build out to about 45,000 jobs as we get to that location. And then North Chandler is a small, owner-occupied. I say small in Chandler, under 100,000, tends to be a little bit smaller. And then here in historic downtown is really finding its own vibrancy. It's focused more on the office market. It's focused more on financial services and IT, kind of that creative class technology opportunities will happen here in downtown. It has done an absolute tremendous job. When I first started working for the city, you didn't drive through the intersection at night by yourself with your top down, your convertible down, because you knew you'd get mugged, and now it's a tremendous destination location. If you come out at nighttime, it is a tremendous. If you've got DC Steakhouse, you've got Coca-Cola, you've got Santan, you've got Irish Republic, you've got Urban Tea Loft, you have Pietas Betty. If you've not had one of their popsicles, don't find them because they're too good. You'll want one every single day. Everyone that comes into my office asks if we can walk over there and get one of their popsicles. So if you haven't had one of those frozen treats yet, I highly, highly recommend it. We have Gangplank here in downtown. For those of you that haven't discovered Gangplank, it's a collaborative workspace. At any given time, about 130 companies are coming and going in and out of that space, predominantly in web application and technology software creation. And then our air park area, which is really centered around the Chandler Municipal Airport. 173,000 operations a day take place, a year take place out of Chandler, meaning that might be a busy take place out of Muni. A lot of small companies operate out of Muni, and if you haven't been out there, it's a very vibrant, exciting place to go see. My last thing I want to talk about is our Innovations Incubator. If you've not been there, it was a vision of City Council that they conceived of in 2005, did a feasibility study in 2007, and we opened in 2009. Innovations is about 36,000 square feet of true technology space. It's wet lab, dry labs, office space. All of your services are provided for a nominal cost. You have a receptionist, you have a meeting space, you have Wi-Fi, you have all of your gases, vacuum line, compressed air lines, you have your phones, you have your photocopying. Anything that you need is really provided for in your rent. And what that's made to do is to help some of our early stage technology companies grow and thrive. Currently, Innovations is 95% occupied, but we have a 24,000 square foot expansion underway right now, which should deliver the first week in July. So if any of you are technology companies and need a new location, we'd love to talk to you, love to take you out on a tour, and really help grow small companies in Chandler. So with that, I turn it back over to James Smith.